Hello, and if you've just joined us, we're here at the Merdeka Award Roundtable. We're talking about the culture of innovation in challenging times. You're right, Chancellor was saying during the break that we still have a long way to go, but that's the great thing.
Yeah,
I think it would be terrible if we said, we're there, there's nothing more to do. But let's look, you mentioned some of those countries, Hong Kong, Taiwan, in this part of the world, Finland, Sweden, Denmark. I was told they had this Swedish-Malaysia Innovation Days, and the joke was that, well, in Sweden, we have to be innovative. It's so cold. There's nothing else to do. So we sit there and we start thinking about, what else we can come up with.
So we've got to be innovative.
Yeah, but what is it? What is it that they're doing? What's right? Surely it's not just the weather.
I think I'm working closely with few universities in Sweden. I'm also visiting professor in Lund University in Sweden. What they have, I observe, is they have very high level of grit, long-term commitment. In our context, Malaysian are normally very low level of grit. It means that after we try once, twice, 3 times, and then we found that people are not interested, so I give up. So in their case, they keep on focusing on what they are doing and then improving, get things better and better from time to time until they get one day, and then people come to say that I need this. So this is what we need to inculcate in our culture. Long-term commitment.
Long-term commitment.
To me, it is, first of all, I want to mention that the academic and the industry, they are actually complementary. Because many things in the industry you cannot do because you are limited by certain facilities and so forth. And even thinking, So the two can work together. They are complementary to each other. And we are a long way. We will push the frontiers of knowledge, further and further. And what I think what Professor has mentioned is that the lack of passion and commitment. Someone must say, I like it and I want to do it. Not because somebody else tells me to do it. And be passionate about it.
All right. Well, I'm now going to turn to the person who did exactly that. I like it, so I'm going to do it, and I don't care what everybody else thinks about it. Chancellor, people say innovation requires people to keep an open mind, look at unconventional ways of doing things, etc., etc. I'm paraphrasing all of that. Is there actually a method in all what appears to be the madness?
Well, there is. There are ideas, there are big thoughts, but they start from a structure. I think let's take the football club.
Yes.
Queen's Park Rangers, which everyone says destined for relegation, etc. No big promises, but there's a vision. There's a reason for why you're doing it. And then you put the structure in place, step by step, right? You get some players, you make the environment great. I was thrilled after 2 months, Neil Warnock, the manager, said, we're the happiest football club in England. The environment that Tony Fernandes has created makes us able to perform the best.
Well, it has. Very quickly translated results.
And then you put in the step of the academy.
Right.
Then you put in the youth teams, the youth squads, etc. And maybe the results will be great. We'll see. But there is always, I think, in most minds, an end game. But I'm the kind of person not to say, well, that's where I want to be. Rather do it. But when I said, when you're in the UK and you're just doing it, people just let you get on and do it. And I think what we can learn from some of the countries that you met. I was an exchange student as a 17-year-old,
right.
And the school system it's so free, and people can really challenge the teachers and talk, and it was even more freer than England. But let's look at one country that you didn't mention that has been the home of most innovation, actually, which is the US.
Yes.
Right? Yes, Finland has examples of Nokia and IKEA in Sweden and all the, but the US has consistently the internet. The force of change has come from there, and that's where we need to look at. And there's lots of things wrong with America, but there's lots of things right. And I think, whether it's culture, we're all watching Hollywood movies, the rap music industry, suddenly Koreans are rappers, Malaysian kids are rappers, etc.
Yes.
They have been the force of change, whether it's music, whether it's sports, etc. So, what is it? And from the first statement today, is freedom of expression, freedom of speech, no fear to think and believe, and creating a culture that anything is possible, and celebrating that culture. When people are successful, people are excited, as opposed to sometimes here is like a bit jealousy, people try to knock you down, find fault. Not going to change that, that's part of our makeup, but I'm just looking at what the successful things are. And I think if Malaysia was to embrace an open society, one that embraced, allowed change, allowed people to change, and delegated authority, because innovation can never happen. If Prof wants to do something radical, whatever he says now, he probably has to talk to 25,000 people to change something. Delegate responsibility, which is ultimately what AirAsia has done.
Yeah, I think on top of that, in the United States, in Sweden, say for example, there is no fear to fail.
I was just going to raise that point.
Failure is to be learned from. You cannot say that, I cannot do this because I'm afraid of failure. So this is embedded in our culture at the moment, especially in academic culture.
Well, the thing is that whatever you were working on, the internet, was not originally designed for what it's being used for today. Velcro was not, the post-it notes were not. And, somebody was thinking of doing something else, and then I've discovered it.
Yeah, failure is to be learned from. This is something that I would like to say. That recently, we made a lot of changes in our academic structure, and a lot of people asking us, we failed to do this. So I said, what have we learned from it? So can we improve? Because we are afraid of failure and you will be punished. This is the culture in Malaysia. If you make one mistake, you will be remembered for that mistake throughout your life. If you are in that organization, your record of failure will be there forever. So this should be removed, I think.
What was Merdeka about? How far have we progressed as a thinking nation? I listened to your introduction.
Yes.
That this award is about thoughtful and thinking and creative. I think if we're honest, how far have we progressed since 1957 to now as a thinking nation, as a nation that celebrates freedom of speech and openness and celebrating ideas and allowing everyone to contribute to the success of the society? That's the question which needs to be answered.
Well, there are a lot of people who say we've progressed, but in the wrong direction. And